I grew up in what was then the small town of St. George in southern Utah. I attended East Elementary School, 3 blocks southeast of my home on 500 East. I really enjoyed my school teachers, principal, and especially my classmates. At recess, we would play softball, dodgeball, hopscotch, marbles, tetherball, and yes, teasing girls in the younger grades. And some kissing tag. About fifth grade, I began to start noticing myself more, how I dressed, how I groomed, how I looked. Clothes were not an issue. I was always well dressed. My dad would cut my hair in what we called back then a bulldog or buzz cut. A few years later in junior high, I would not allow him to cut my hair. I wanted to look and feel like my classmates. I started being concerned about some names a couple of my classroom bullies started calling me. Fatty, Fat Boy, Elephant. And you thought Fat Boy was the ice cream sandwich you enjoyed devouring. Nope, I existed many years before its creation. I became self-conscious of my appearance and especially now my weight. I did not realize how much this affected and bothered me. I noticed I started to call Rick, my younger brother of 3 years, some of those same names. We started bashing each other with foam TV mats in our fights and name calling. And I came to the realization at a young age by myself that if things were going to change, I needed to change. For things to get better, I needed to get better. I announced to my mother I was going to lose some weight. I began the process on my own, watching what I ate, cutting out the sweets and breads and carbs, and to my surprise, I lost 30 pounds in just over a month. Wow! I learned at a very young age if I worked hard enough at a goal, I could accomplish that goal regardless of what the naysayers or name callers said. Our next Basin Bison, is self-awareness. I became aware of myself by experiencing some negativity, name calling, and ridicule. I was able to correct some of my eating habits and realize on my own I could and should make those changes if I wanted to give up the labels of fatty, fat boy, and elephant. First, a definition from psychologists Shelley Duvall and Robert Wickland, quote, self-awareness is the ability to focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, or emotions do or don't align with your internal standards. If you're highly self-aware, you can objectively evaluate yourself, manage your emotions, and align your behavior with your values and understand correctly how others perceive you. To be self-aware, we need to know a few things about ourselves. We need to know what we need, what we really need, not just want. So we start with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Food, water, clothes, and shelter come first, before anything else. Then we can focus on a safe place to be today and tomorrow where people we know aren't going to hurt us. Then we can focus on having friends and familial relationships. Then we can focus on prestige and accomplishment. Then finally we can focus on finding our place in the world of self-actualization. Before we can get to know who we are, we begin completing the first 2 levels. Then we can start to think about who we are and who we want to be. This involves evaluating our actions, thoughts, and emotions. We must ask ourselves things like, what did I just do and what happened because of it? Then we can ask, did I like what happened? And what can I do to change what happened or will happen in the future? By evaluating our actions, thoughts, and emotions, we can find out who we are, and we can train ourselves into becoming who we want to be. A recent social media post came to my attention. Quote, you look in the mirror and sometimes see a mess of a human being, but you don't see the lives you've touched or the people you've saved. You don't see all the love you've given freely or the extraordinary memories you've made. You are a book of beautiful moments and feelings. Coach Kim, last name Giles, dated July 6, 2015, shares how you can shift your attitude to get more appreciation from all you do. In this way, you are becoming more aware of yourself. I now quote Coach Kim in the next 6 examples. Number 1, work on your self-esteem by redefining what gives you and all human beings value. You must decide where your value as a human being comes from. Is it based in your appearance, performance, and what others think of you? Or is it based in your nature as a child of God and your uniqueness as a one-of-a-kind divine soul? I encourage you to stop trying to earn your value through your appearance, performance, and the approval of others. Instead, see your value as infinite and absolute, unchangeable, and not in question at all, because life is a classroom where you are here to learn. It is not a test to determine your value. Number 2, take better care of yourself. Make sure you have a healthy balance between giving to others and taking care of yourself. Remember, you are in charge of making sure your needs are met. If you give too much and never take care of yourself, your family and coworkers, and in your case, Basin, your fellow students, will begin to take that for granted. They will expect that behavior, and it will be your fault. You will have taught them that your needs aren't important. If you're asking for what you want and need and taking care of you, you won't feel overburdened or taken for granted, and you'll be teaching them to honor your needs. You will also have a full bucket and more to give. Number 3, give to others from a place of love. There are 2 emotions you can give from, love or fear. Giving from fear means you have low self-esteem and you're afraid you aren't good enough. And that means you're in desperate need of validation and appreciation from others. When you give gifts from this needy place, your gifts have strings attached. You need something back in the form of validation from the person you're serving. When you give from this place, it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like an obligation, and people don't appreciate that. When you give gifts from love, needing nothing in return, it feels like a real gift, and people tend to appreciate those. If you're doing steps 1 and 2, you should have a full bucket, and you should be able to give gifts from love. When people feel real love behind your actions, they will appreciate you. Number 4, make sure you are giving because you want to, not from a sense of obligation. If you give or serve because you're supposed to or need to or have to or should, the truth is you don't really want to. That again is not much of a gift. It's a forced gift, and no one really appreciates a gift you didn't want to give in the first place. In your mind, they should really appreciate these gifts even more because you sacrificed to give them. But they won't. They don't want a gift that is laced with guilt. They only want a gift or service that comes from your heart because you wanted to give it. Number 5, stop trying to get appreciated. I hope you are hearing this idea behind all the other steps. If you want to be appreciated, you must stop trying to get appreciated. Your neediness is making everything you do about you. When you stop trying to get appreciation and start giving to the people in your life from a true sense of love, you'll be naturally appreciated. Number 6, be grateful and give more appreciation. There's a law in this universe called you get what you give. This means if you want more appreciation, you must give more appreciation. Shower the people in your life with gratitude for every little thing they do. Make sure appreciating others is a core part of who you are. But again, remember, this has to be real gratitude. You can't fake this. You may need to spend some time putting on paper all the things you are truly grateful for. Try to imagine your life without them and find a true sense of appreciation. Tony Robbins said, change your expectation to appreciation and the world changes instantly. Someone has said, of all the schooling one can achieve, the greatest is to know thyself and to thyself be true. Nearly 4 decades ago, I attended a business meeting in Denver where I encountered a motivational speaker, Jim Rohn, who has since passed. This simple statement he shared that day, I have shared often and quoted many times. If you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to be better, you have to be better. So let's go over that again. Basin Bison, repeat that with me. If you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to be better, you have to be better. One more time. If you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to be better, you have to be better. And so, Basin Bison, it's really all about you. Self-awareness, our next Basin Bite.